So I just want to make sure that I'm going live. Yes. So first things first, hey there, or more like hey myself. Welcome to my live stream. So obviously I'll share why I'm doing this and what I'll be doing throughout this stream. So the reason I'm doing this live stream is that uh, like I'm just want to get comfortable talking in front of a camera, and well, there's obviously I'm expecting people to be there. Uh, for now, it's just myself. It's always a great feeling to have people around. So, and what I'll be doing in this video, I mean, in this live stream, is that I'll be learning a technology. Like for now, it's going to be bash scripting. Uh, and what I feel is that it's a kind of a pressure, and that's a good thing for me to have. That there's going to be people watching me, and I just cannot relax uh, like I can when I'm learning alone. So, so yes, that's what I think, and that's the reason uh, I started to do a live stream instead of studying alone. And here's uh, and one more thing, what I and uh, why back scripting in the first place. So, uh, like if I'm learning bash scripting, it's safe to assume that I'm familiar with the Linux environment. Uh, I what I believe is Linux has a lot to offer, and I just cannot limit myself to just using only a few features. So what I believe is if I know bash scripting, I can leverage the Linux operating system. I can get more work done. So that's the reason, and that's the first reason that I'm learning bash scripting. And secondly, uh, is because I want to do DevOps, obviously, and it's a kind of a no-brainer for anyone who's doing DevOps. Learn shell scripting. Could be any language, or not just bash scripting. Some people learn Python as well. So, and like I said, I'm familiar with the Linux environment. I know my way around uh, Linux. I believe it's so. Um, and yeah, so I'll just get started right away. So, and yes, I forgot to mention, and I'll be following the resource, and I put that in my description. You can check it out. The resource I'll be following. Uh, this is not mine. This is someone else's, but I'll be learning through this. So just feel free to tag along if there's anyone there. So yes, let's enter to bash scripting. Yeah, welcome to this bash scripting channel. Bash scripting. This is more like a preface kind of a thing, and here, I mean, the author is just letting me know the what kind of stuff that I can expect out of this book, obviously. And uh, why do we even write scripts in the first place? To automate tasks, right? So let's say, for example, so I'm not expecting you to know it, but here's what I can think of, like for when it's come to automating a task. I mean, the task that comes to my mind is that there's a feature in Linux that you can create groups with a specific set of permissions and add users to that group. So, so whenever you need to add a user to a group, like taking from a list, I mean, you don't do it manually, right? If you have done programming, you obviously uh, not do it manually. I mean, there is some kind of a dry thing. I mean, you don't repeat yourself, right? So I can write a script that takes a argument, could be a list, and takes the user. I mean, assuming that the list consists of the username and some other info about the user, maybe email ID, mobile number, and their office ID. I'm just assuming things here. Can take that and the department that user is in and add that user to their specific and their respective groups. Let's say if I'm a developer and there's a system administrator for the environment that I need to work on. So he'll just add me to that developer group, and there's someone from the uh, site reliability team or from the DevOps team, and I mean, the system admin will add them to their respective group, whether it can be a developer group or a DevOps group or a backend, could be anything. So that is the kind of task that I think of automating, and it could be anything. I could just create a script that makes 100 directories and 100 more inside of every directory. So I hope you get the point of what can we achieve with bash scripting. Automation is one important aspect of it, and obviously saving time while automating a task. I mean, here he presented with an example as well. Imagine working with a group of 5 developers on a project that requires a tedious environment setup. Yeah, and also while setting up an environment for your project. See, every project has a setup, right? So I mean, there's a specific set of tools so that you need to set up in your system so that your project can run. So considering the scale of the project, if it's a large project or let's say Kubernetes or Docker, so if you're trying to contribute to Docker, there's a lot more. I mean, there's many tools that need to have installed in your system. Like you need to have Go in them, and if you're working on Docker CLI, you need to install like using Go the CLI library such as Cobra or I'm just saying stuff here. I'm not sure what actually the setup requires. So you can write all of that in just one script, and so when any developer that is trying to set up your project can find that script and just run it, and the setup will be available for them. Just one place to define your setup, and that's just a script, and that's automation over there, right there. Sorry. So instead of repeating it, we can just run one simple script and get our work done there. Each developer has to manually set up an environment. and that's the same and very long task setting up environment repeated 5 times at least. This is where you and bash scripts come to the rescue. So instead, you create a simple text file containing all the necessary instructions and share it with your teammates so that all they have to do is just execute the script and everything will be created for them. The bash is not unique to Linux, but to Unix. Not, I'm no, sorry, I'm wrong there. It's not just unique to Linux. It's more of a general thing. Bash scripts can be executed on any Unix-like systems. So bash structure. Let's start with so I'll I'll be starting with writing a script, writing in your file. For example, dev.sh. So I have a Docker container running. As a root user, so that I don't have to put sudo every time I need elevated permissions. But I also need to keep track of what I'll be learning. So I just made a repository for bash scripting specifically so that I can keep track of it. For now, I'll just make a sample repo, test repo. Sorry, not test repo, test directory. Repo has already made for it for this. I'd say file.sh. Okay, I'm using NaniOVM as my text editor. Now to execute on a bash script. The bash shell interpreter, the first line of a script must indicate the absolute path to the bash executable. It's also called a shebang. All that shebang does is instruct the operating system to run script with bin bash executable. However, bash is not always in bin bash directory, particularly on non-Linux systems or due to installation or some optional packages. So, so in this page, like for the system to recognize our script as a bash script, we need to mention a special line called as shebang. What that line consists of is the path to our bash program, bash binary. So if you actually take a look at your binary path, you can actually find bash over here. There is this, and this is what we mention over there. So like they say that I need to mention this line over there so that the operating system knows that it's a bash executable. So what if I don't and just try to like add a few commands to my file and run without a shebang? So I'll just echo hello world. So I change this I change the permissions for this. So it now has executable permissions and try to execute this. It still works anyway. So what's exactly the reason I need to have this shebang line? Also, like I've heard this many times before that that I need to this mention this line, and it's called Shebang. I'm a bit curious about why it's even called Shebang. Like why exactly that? Okay, Shebang, hashbang redirects here for hashbang. Computing Shebang is a character sequence consisting of characters, numbers, and so I mean this specific character is called Shebang. Hash and exclamation. Wait, okay. So it's like when you say boom or bang and you kind of add an exclamation at the end. So it's kind of that. It's a hash and a bang. So not hash bang is not so like good at so that good at remembering. So she bang sounds better, just much better. Yeah, she bang or like sh bang, hash bang. Got it. Got it. Okay. So I was here. Bash knowledge not always in the bash directory. I don't know what that is actually. So yes, it's not necessary that our bash executable is going to live inside this bin directory. So instead, what we can do is mention this path and the binary that we are trying to find and the or more executable. So if you have ever heard of a path variable, and it's a variable that consists of, I mean, path to every binary in your system. So whenever you try to do execute any command, ls for example, or cd or any other command, so it tries to find that uh, path for that binary inside the path variable. So path variable consists of every path to every binary in the system. So whenever you execute a command, it uh, takes that path variable and tries to find if the command that we're trying to execute is found in that in the set of path that it has. If it if it does, we are able to execute it. Else it says command not found. And also I'll just change the name of the directory and I'll just name it file. It still works. Like I said, bash live inside my. Okay, I'll say which bash. Okay, I have my bash executable in this environment, and This works. So, like I said, is it necessary to have a that shebang line? Like I'm able to execute it without having shebang line. Can also try to change things in the file. I'll do one thing and yeah, test one, test two. So, like since I'm able to run it without having the shebang file, really necessary for me to have that line in my script. Why is it important to have shebang at the top of your shell script? Like someone on the Reddit, if someone has understood the importance of this. So let's read this. Mr. Bhaskar, today one of my friends asked me to have a construct that simply turns out I found in my page related.js, Python would need to bash. This script was fine in the terminal, but it didn't work as intended. When it said no keyboard shortcut, okay, the script thought as a command. That do that different stuff I noticed that he had not this script like first there was run this with bash and then from another shell maybe. So no, so okay, someone has a response to this. Try to run a file as a program on POSIX around two possibilities. It's a compiled binary executable file or a script of some sort. Scripts have to start with be recognized as such when it sees it. So like okay, okay, just wait. Next on the line and supplies format. Okay, like adding the shebang line, we are specifically telling the system that this is a bash script. So I believe by default, I mean, it just defaults to bash executable if we don't have any kind of a shebang line present. Or is it so? Particular interpreter of the system could be using another shell, PSH. Okay, I mean, there are obviously different kinds of shell in your system. Like there is just SH, there is Z shell, there is K shell, and there is fish shell. I mean, my file, hello. See, I have SH, SH on this. Okay. I mean, there are different types of shells. So specific, I mean, explicitly, we are telling to the system that I mean, I only want to use this command interpreter for my script. like explicitly saying it to use Z shell or bash shell or just shell itself. So yes, it's not necessary. Like if we do not define, I mean, specify that shebang line, it just default to the current default shell that our system uses. I'd say echo shell. So like our system default shell is bash. So that's the reason behind having a shebang bin slash bash, or I could say user bin environment bash. File exists already. Let's remove this line. So that's about shebang. And so on to the next one. Hello world. So once we have our dojo.sh file created, we have specified the bash shebang and verified hello world bash script. We just did that. We just created our own bash script that just prints hello world to the console. Or we could say echoes hello world to the console. So we have declared this shebang line. After that, like we need to change the permission to the executable. So if not, the system doesn't know that this is an executable file. Like it does not have permission to do so if we did not provide the set the executable permission to this file. So if you don't know about permissions, let me just uh, file permissions. There are actually codes for permissions that you can give to a particular file, and like for each file there exists different permissions for a user and the group that file belongs to, and others who might access that file. I mean, each file can have three different kinds of permissions, which is read, write, and execute. Uh, and this first character at the beginning defines that the file is a directory. So, like I said, so these are three kinds of permissions that a user has. I mean, the user has all kinds of permissions. Like the user of that file can read it, write it, and execute it. And the group can only read and execute it. Others can only read and execute it. You could think of it as three bits. I mean, the maximum number that we can accommodate in three bits is seven, right? So you could say zero as so zero means having no permissions at all. So at this place, we have X. So one stands for executable. So if you have two, like for 0, 1, 0, then you have only write permission, and for four you have read permission. So, and you can for having all of that, you can have a 1, 1, 1, and that is all bits are set. In that case, you have read, write, and execute permissions. That is it. Uh, I hope that gives you some idea about what permissions are. I'm not explain it in much detail, but uh, I'm just giving an overview. That's so we have done both the cases. I mean, after giving permissions and executable permissions to my script file, I mean, it's not necessary that we have to provide with a script file with .sh extension, but it's a good practice. It's a convention that we uh, provide our executable with .sh extension so that people who are using our script knows that this is a shell script. So like we have done this already, right? We have run a file without an executive. I mean, without .sh extension. I'll just change. Works fine. So we have done this. We have done this. Done both ways of executing the shell script. Bash can be used interactively. You could run the following command directly in your terminal and same design. Like we have already discussed why we have a shell scripts in the first place. I could have done this manually as well. I mean, explicitly writing everything that my script contains, but I don't want to. I just have everything in one place and just and get the work done just by executing that one simple file. On to the next one, bash variables. I mean, if you're familiar with programming, uh, you must have you must know variables, right? You have to store data. So, like I said, uh, like when we execute any command, a command is just a binary file in our Linux system. So, whenever we run such command, I mean, bash interpreter looks for that binary in our path variable. So your path variable is a kind of variable in bash. Like for example, there's a variable for user, echo user thing, and echo shell. So these are the variables. So in any other programming language, you can use bash scripting, variables in bash scripting. However, there are no data types, and the variable in bash can contain numbers as well as characters. More like a seems like a Python to me. I mean, we can have the same variable as a number or as a bunch of characters. What is an important note is that we cannot have spaces before and after the equals to sign, assigning assignment operator. That's it. So I'll just declare that my name is Spike. So like for I'm just tinkering around the stuff that I'll just use this instead. So name is equals to Spike, and here we have set our variable name with the value Spike, and I'll just echo name. So to access our variable, we prepend it with the dollar sign. To access the variable, you have to use the dollar sign reference as shown below. Spike. So, quoting variables. Should always wrap variable references in double quotes. One of the most important habits to develop in bash scripting. Without quotes, bash will perform word splitting and globbing on variables values leads to bugs, even security vulnerabilities and example what can go wrong of course. My okay, so I'll define it again. First, like speaker echo name spike speaker echo. Or I'll define another variable. Okay. My S Spike. My file.txt. Okay. Okay, I have to define this inside the script. Okay, I have my file and file.txt file. So if I don't wrap around quotes, it okay, it splits the words. Okay. And what's globbing? Globbing means pattern matching mechanism used by Linux shell to expand wildcard characters into a list of matching families or partners. So let's just wrap this around quotes, and we have a file name myfile.txt. Got it. So without quotes, if a variable contains pieces, wildcards, or other special characters, Bash will interpret them as rather than treating the value as a single string. So if we don't have a variable wrapped around double quotes, it won't treat it as a single entity or single way or I mean single entity. This can cause scripts to break or behave unpredictably. Always use double quotes around variables and not just name. The common exception is plural spacing does not occur, but even then quoting is a good habit. It's been 38 minutes. I'll just take a break for 5 minutes and I'll be back. Uh, so I'm back, and let's just make a note of what all we learned so far. And initially, it's there's a like we need to find uh, shebang, which is bash, or you could say our default shell to tell the system explicitly system the command interpreter in use and what more? Defining variables. We can define variables and access it by sending the variable with dollar sign, for example, uh, file name equals to my file.txt and touch file name. We're accessing the file variable with this and also wrap our variable side double quotes touch file name. So this is what we have done so far, and again there is no space between variable name and uh, its value. Hmm. That's it. On to the next one. You're done with quoting. Uh, when to use curly braces. You can also wrap the variable inside the curly braces. This is required when variable name is followed by characters that could be interpreted as part of a name. What does this mean? Greeting hello. Without braces, Bash looks for a variable greeting. So it's more like an interpolation. Feels like we are like, similar in Python, like how we have f and double quotes so that we can specify our variable name and interpolate a variable inside the string. It's similar to that. Like I can say name is a question. Spike. Uh, print. I don't remember Python, so I'll just try a name. Name is name. Okay, works. So this is exactly kind of feels similar for me. This is what we're trying to do. Is it without braces? Yes. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Hello. Echo. This doesn't work because we don't have a variable name with sorry variable with the name greetings. So it just defaults to an empty string, I guess. So if we wrap a variable name inside curly braces, hello, 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 people. Are more like a greeting custom greeting. Mm, greetings, people. Are always required for arrays, string slicing, for simple cases, are optional, both name work. I can wrap my variable inside double quotes and the name of the name when the name of the variable inside the curly braces as well. So throughout this, we use curly braces when they are needed for clarity and design preparation, and omit them when the variable stands alone. Like for standalone variables such as name, we can I mean we can decide whether to use curly braces or not depending on the context. So if it's a standalone variable, we need not to have a to use the curly braces. But if it's a part of an array, like, or if you're doing any string slicing, so in that case, we might use, not might have to, we have to use. So let's say I'm greetings zero dot Greece. Okay, got it. So let's next update. So dev to put a variable in it. Again, can open a file. Search this favorite text editor. I'm using Neo adding welcome message. So at first, we specified our shebang, obviously, and then we defined a variable called name, and we assigned a value to it. Echo hi there name. Finally, output the content of the variable on the screen as a welcome message by using echo. So, so this is a hello world chapter, right? The, I'd say hello.sh and I'll define my shebang bin slash env bash and here I'll define my greetings variable, which is hey there and name is Rango or Rangi if you know the reference. Okay, name. So let's check the file permissions. Will not have the executable permission. Obviously, did not have executable permission. Let's just add the permission to this. As such, since I'm the user of this, so like I'm the owner of this file, I need not to have to use sudo. Like root user is the owner of every file. I mean, like with elevated privileges, we can do anything we want. And yes, yeah, I don't have to use sudo here since I'm the owner. Let's just check our file permissions again. We have the executable permissions, and now we will just have to run a script. Let's hello.sh. Right there, run. Say hello. I don't necessarily need to was is a bit like other programming languages. As semicolon at the end of each line, it works both ways, but a bit like other programming languages, as JavaScript, some variables in the command line, and read as parameters. Body takes two parameters separated by space. Now we are taking command line arguments, body and body. So I guess this will refer to the first command line argument, and this will refer to the second one. Uh, yeah, CDMs. Arch.sh slash bin slash en slash bash. Sorry, this space bash. So will take a first input Bobby the command line. Similarly, there could be more inputs. They're all referenced by the sign and the respective order of the input. It means that body is referenced using has to. Another useful method for reading variables is the add method which reads all inputs. Or okay. So this is just a second, guys. I have to take it. So I'll save this file and add the necessary permissions and I'll run it without giving any arguments. Let's see. Hello there. Hello. Okay. Yes. My body. Um, Spike my body. Okay. Cool. With following. Hello there. So with the previous script, we defined a variable. We output the variable and so now let's go ahead and put instead do that. So oh, I should have called this one. None. Those are message. So like previously, we took the command line arguments and we use those arguments like from the way they were given. Like if you are referring to the first way for the first argument, you are using it as the $1. If you are referring to the second one, it's $2. And if you want to refer all the arguments that were given, we use a $sign and at symbol. So instead, what if we want to take input from the user themselves? So how do we do that? Do that again. Now open the file with the full text. Okay. Wow. Body. Evening. Okay. That's true. My name is either Rambo. Okay. So it reads the variable and takes input from us and reads it into this name variable. And here we use a variable. Okay. Got it. So store input as string and variable obviously. You can use the variable and print the message back to them. The output of this will be that's it. Also name Bobby. So let's reduce the code to change the first echo statement with the repeat. We'll print a message. So we are reading name, reading the data into this name variable, but with a message. Okay, okay. Word option. Man. Yes, yes. Prompt. So instead of echoing a message and reading the name on another line, you can do read name, and this name, and this should work. So name Randy. Hey there, Randy. Okay. My shop does is not itself. I tested it. I print a message before prompting the user for the input. Okay. This is the prompt. Comments just like in any other programming language, we do have comments for bash as well. So usually we see double slash or slash asterisk for multi-line comments or for double storyline comments. And in bash for inline comment we use hash symbol. Okay. Ask user for the name. Greet the user. Comments are great with describe some more complex functionality directly in your script so that other people could find their way around your code. So let's just add a few comments to our dashboard. Okay. Arguments. We pass arguments to a shell script when you execute it, like just we did it before. In the script, we can use the in order to reference to the first argument that we specified. And if we specified a second one, it will be $2 and so on and so forth. Let's create a short script argument that is which. We've done this already. Uh, cat, bird, dog, stupid. Echo all arguments. Hence, if we do not provide, it's just default to an empty string. Nothing will be printed out in that case. One must be taken. Let's just hello there, one, two, three. Okay. Add a few more. One is uh, two is two, or dog, cat, bird. So we didn't use the third one. Let's just do it. R S Keysberg. Cool. What else? Okay. Another thing we will need to keep in is that is your step and the script. So I'll just try to print script name. R start. Okay. Let's uh, connect in R start. Okay. You need to be careful with the self-deletion. Ensure that you have a script backed up before you self-delete it. Okay, we are in a script and we are trying to delete the script that from which the script is running. Okay, let's just do that. Not the args file, obviously, because I need to keep that file for a reference and I need to save it. So let's just make a test script. Let's just define a shebang and interpreter. So this file will be deleted. We um, or I could say self-deleted rm equals 0. Okay. So, hmm, no, we don't have the file in our system anymore. Arrays. So again, I'll just take a step back here and just reflect on what have we learned so far. So what have we learned until now? We've learned curl braces, also wrap around our reference with curl braces and strings letting or sorry slicing or with arrays. For example, mm, name equals to thing, and we decided to echo name just what it is. Yes, and what more? Arguments, user input, and we learned about user input, uh, message, was message, I name CLI arguments. So let's say that we have a sample script. For example, when we are executing it, test.sh, let's say dog, cat, and bird. Uh, we can reference these arguments uh, for the first, second, and third arg, and so on in our script. And all, all arguments. That's it. Hmm. That is like how far are we into this stream? It's almost 1 hour 22 minutes. I'll be back in a few minutes. Until then, I'll just have some water. Ah, so I'm back. So let's get started with arrays in Bash. So if I've ever done programming, I've done it. Okay. So probably already familiar with arrays. I am. So you can initialize the array by assigning values divided by space and post and okay. Parents. For example, we are defining values inside this array and this nothing much of a separate in between them. Like there's only space. Like we usually when we define and declare a array, so we use curl braces and the elements inside those curl braces have a separator using a comma. Like, usually it's a comma separator, but for Bash we don't have anything of that sort. You need to use curl braces and double quotes around array expansions. Okay, let's just define an array. Area arrays. Okay, arrays.sh. Same drill. User bin env bash. So my array equals uh ele1, ele2, ele3. So since we are just before like so we have read before already that when we are working with arrays we are supposed to use curly braces obviously inside double quotes when referencing the variable. So the variable itself will be inside the curly braces and the whole variable referencing is inside those double quotes. Curly braces and double quotes are another expansions access single element of the uh, element at index 0 my array index 2 that like for accessing we use square brackets similar to what we do in other programming languages. I could rather say it's 2. This is 1. Okay, now we expect this to return ELE2 string permissions and arrays.sh. Obviously works perfectly fine. So as with the command, okay, -1 returns the last element. So what if I do -2? I believe it should return the last second element, which will be ELE1, obviously. So this kind of feels similar with Python. Like in Python as well, when we are doing array operations, like uh, I'm we can slice the array in Python and also keep a step, and we can step over elements. Like it could be two, the index could be two or something, and when we're trying to access the element from the end, so we usually put the index with the minus sign or hyphen, in Python. Uh, and similarly, we have done the same thing here for accessing the last element or the last second element. And in Go, I guess, when we are slicing, I mean arrays, so we usually use the colon to refer to the entire array. So if we want to refer to a specific slice of an array, we just, I mean, de define the start index and the end index. But here, when referring to all the elements in the array, we just put the add symbol, which gives me all the elements inside the array. Okay, so I'll just try this. All elements in the array are my array. So ELE1, ELE0. Okay. Depending the array hash sign would output total number of elements. Okay. Now, so if I prepend the same with the hash symbol, I would get file this in this one and it is it. Imagine three elements. It's what we expected. It's like and we have done one example of slicing right with my name. So I'll just show you like what I've done. Let's say I defined a name, or let's say I defined info. My name is something. I will say John. And if I just I can not sure how I've done this. Like this, I guess. So for since I double quotes. No, it's wrong. I've done it. I'm not sure where I've done it. I'm just stuck. Curl operator, right? So like we were in the curl operator when I did that. Where is it? Mm, is it no, it's way before this. Actually, this. Actually, no. Hmm. Yeah, got it. So elements in the array. No, I'll try. Yeah. So what if I don't define anything, but I will say, let's see. Hmm. Okay. I got everything except for the last character. What if I don't want to do that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think I should wait. The slicing is in the very next slide. I should have waited a little bit. Okay, that is slicing. Mm. Slicing that is such same gel. Bash doesn't support. Okay, let's. I'll just make sure that I done that up. Last time okay. So we've done all of this. We're done with it, and let's move on to array slicing. So while Bash doesn't support true array slicing, it can achieve similar results using a combination of array indexing and string slicing. Okay. So like for printing the entire array, we use the add symbol, and for single accessing a single element, we use this. For a range of elements, okay, this is the operator I use. From an index to the end. Okay. So from three till the end, we get this. Okay. Do we have something for like from the end? Nothing. String slice. String start length. Okay. Array request. Printing and like, print sorry, accesses element. Printing a range of elements in a range. We have this. We have string. Sorry, no array. Okay. Like for string, need not to have mentioned this symbol. I can just have the variable name and a colon, and like followed by a colon and the range itself. But for arrays, I have to mention this symbol, and then I have to mention the range followed by the range. Got it. From index to end. So, okay, as expected. It was 0 to 3, 0. Okay. Uh, Obviously, the first in the range, the first one is included, and the max in the range is excluded. So it prints from 0. If I mentioned 0 to 3 as my range, I get 0, 1, 2 as my elements printed in the console. So this is it. So in working with that, I always use add to refer all the elements. Like, that's what I observed before, and this is what the book says. And to enclose the parameters expansion imports, reserve spaces in the array, and enclose the parameters expansion imports. String slicing in Bash, you can stack portions of a string using slicing. The basic syntax is strings start. This is the array slicing and now string slicing. Start index maximum or characters to extract. Uh, I should rename this to array slicing. I would say slicing. Array slicing. Okay. Now we have a slicing message. This is then env bash. You have a sample text. So extracting characters in a range. I have to text should be in curly braces, and let's say I'm extracting characters from this to end. Uh, to end, it's 3 years for now. So we get characters from the index to which is CDE, and here we got B and C. Which are 3 characters from index 1 with B, C, D. Okay, this is the length. We are not defining a range or something. We're defining a start index. If we do not define any length, we get all the elements from the starting index until the end. If we define a length from the start index, followed by the the length of the characters from the start index, we get only uh, the characters in that range. Start until start plus length. Okay. So sorry, I read this incorrectly. It was, it's not a max range or something. It's just a length that we define. So here expecting BCD. Since I've only defined my start index, I'm expecting all the characters followed by, like, from this character, all the characters followed by this character. Okay. So let's say I'm expecting abstraction, not in a range. This would be um, this would be incorrect. Abstraction cars from index one and max of three cars. Mm. By four. It's a five. So I'm expecting the full string here. So I'll just find the syntax for this for slicing. Syntax string start index and the length. This is it. And everything else, length exceeds, stops at the end. So if my length exceeds my end index in any case, so it'll just print until the end character and it'll just leave out the remaining part of the length. Let's say I'm printing, or I'm accessing from my third index and so on until 5, and the length is 5 followed by index 3. So I'll only get 3, D and E, expected D, E, that's it. Here the expected output is not the expected but output. A, B, C, D. Let's just run it. Change permissions. STR, slicing. Yeah, slicing. Yes, A, B, C, D, C, D. Okay, right. Okay, like, I mean, as it is said, it will simply stop at the end without raising an error. For example, starting at the index 7, world characters. Time. And let's say even though there's only 6 characters remains, 10 characters alphabets. It will only return the available characters starting from the, I mean, from the start index till the I mean, till the characters followed by the start index. So even if the length exceeds that, it will just print only the available characters followed by the character at the start index, and it will raise no error. That's what it said. It says, not it says, but it does. Like we have seen it for ourselves already. I mean, like just like we did here, like we are starting with the element at the third index, which is the D character, and there's only one character followed by the D character, and I gave it the length 5, which is the I mean 4 more. I mean sorry, 3 more, including D and E. So there are no characters after E, right? So we get the remaining characters and that's it. There is no out of index, out of bounds error here. Like something that we usually expect when you're working with arrays. Let's say the array is of length 10 and I'm trying to access the element at the 11th index. So the compiler will give me an error uh, that I'm trying to access an element that is out of bounds of the array. So that's it. And that is not something that Bash has. Bash doesn't throw an error. Okay. Conditionals. So let's see. We're almost at 2 hours. So and I believe we are at the end of the stream. Uh, I did not check if anyone has joined in, even though I thank everyone also and I thank myself for doing this. And I intend to keep doing this, like keep on doing this. Uh, and this, there's some progress that I've made, and I know there's a long way to go. This is only the beginning. I'm only on the initial ground, on the at the very beginning of my shell scripting journey. There's a lot more content to cover, and there's a lot more to learn. Uh, Pretty much excited for the next live stream that I'm going to do, which will most probably be tomorrow on Bash scripting. And this kind of feels great since I made some progress today. Uh, and also there's a lot more things to figure out. Uh, let's just I'll just reflect on what I've done in this 2 hours. So first thing, like I started with my scripting, like I started learning Bash scripting. That's okay. And the other thing is that I've been quite silent. I've been reading myself, and there's a camera in front of me. Or if people might be seeing me, they kind of feel bored. It's not that I'm trying to entertain them here, but I need to keep them engaged if they are here. So I believe that I need to be a bit more loud uh, and not just read it to myself. I need to explain my thoughts out louder and what I'm thinking. And that's it. There are a few more things that cross my mind, but I'll share them later. And that's all for this stream. And thank you so much. Uh, happy learning and have a great day. Bye bye.